Hey guys, it's Tuesday evening here at Junk Removal Authority. Hope everybody had a wonderful 4th. I am Lee Godbold. This is Junk Removal Authority, and you are watching What's Your Old Problem, where we cover all things junk removal. Any issues you're having or somebody might be having, we're going to help you find a solution, help you get in business, grow your business, maybe sell your business, anything related to you improving your business and your personal finances and your life. So today, this is a relevant question to a lot of people. Now, a lot of you guys, you've already quit, you've got a junk removal business. This might not apply as much directly to you, but I think you're gonna find some really awesome information in it. And what we're covering today is when should you quit your job and go full-time in junk removal? Today on the show, we're gonna be having Ronnie Knuckles with Sergeant Junket out of Louisville, Kentucky. We'll be on the phone, as well as Damon Foley with J-Dog Junk Removal out of Austin, Texas. Both of them actually currently have jobs, but they're building successful junk removal businesses kind of on the side. They're adding to their current income and they're building up something of true value that they own. Before we roll into that, business package dates. Our next business package is August 5th. It is sold out. So we don't have any other space remaining on August 5th through 9th. However, if you want to get on the next round, September 9th through 13th, we have 2 slots remaining for September 9th through 13th. That is the full-on business package where we help you get open. We bring you in town, train you on how to run your business, and you get full-on operations manuals, a year's worth of consulting, all that good stuff. Price just $10,000. It's going to give you probably hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of value. That next class is September 9th through 13th. We've got 2 slots remaining on that. So, before we bring on Ronnie, we're going to bring Ronnie on first. There's a few questions that you must ask yourself if you guys are right on the fence. And probably a lot of this is stuff you've thought about, but this is also stuff we're going to ask Ronnie as well as Damon, at least to some extent. What's your current household income, guys? A lot of people think in order for you to start your own business, you have to first, or to do well at your own business or a junk removal business, you have to first quit your job. And what I'm going to explain to you today is that's not necessarily the case, especially if you have a good income. If you guys are out there making $60,000, it's probably going to be 18 to 24 months before you're going to equal your income with the junk removal business. And you're probably only going to reach that if you were able to aggressively reinvest in your company for those first 12 months. What I mean by that is take most of your profits, put it back into your business. That's the only way you're going to be able to get to that $60,000 threshold or so by month 18. If you guys are relying on actually taking money out of your business to live on, it's going to be much, much more difficult. If you guys are making $100,000 or $150,000, you've got more money you can actually put towards that business to accelerate its growth. You're eventually going to get to the point where it's bringing in a great additional income. And heck, if you enjoy your job, maybe you don't even quit it. Maybe you keep rolling on doing what you're doing. You're enjoying a great income. And maybe you're moving to something you can eventually retire to, something you can sell. You're thinking of your business as an investment. So what's your household income? If you got a great household income, that's awesome. If you guys are a little less, my income was like $20K when I started Junk Doctors. It was a pretty easy decision once I got so busy with Junk Doctors from Craigslist ads. Craigslist ads where we started, and then we started in with some Google ads on a low budget. Those 2 things right there, we started building. I was able to actually more than bring in the amount of money I was bringing from my job at a roller skating rink. I was able to quit the roller skating rink job, go into junk removal full time, and it worked out great. Completely different approach if you guys are out there making 60, 100, 150,000 plus a year. Benefits at your current job. Benefits are expensive once you go in on your own company. I'm 29 years old. I have no health problems, at least not that I know of whatsoever, and I pay right at $500 a month for health insurance. That's just me. So if my wife was added on that, you're going to double that. So what kind of obligations do you have? Do you have a house payment? What's your rent payment? Car payments, non-business related car payments. What are all your obligations? How much money's left over and how much money do you have saved up? Are you able and willing to borrow? If you're somebody that's able and willing to borrow a decent amount of money, maybe you do quit your current job a little sooner. And guys, almost the most important question here, if you guys have the income, say you have an income above 50K, this household income's, your income is maybe above 50K. If you're married, it's probably going to be closer to like 90K. If you're above that household income, if you're above that threshold, do you enjoy your current job? Guys, if you like your current job, there's nothing to say you can't build your junk removal job. We've got guys that's been in business years, still working a full-time job. They've been building a successful junk removal company. Some of these guys, some of the guys we talked to, they're doing this, bringing in over $500,000 a year in sales while they're still working their full-time job. So our first caller that we're going to bring on is going to be Ronnie Knuckles with Sergeant Junket. I'm going to give him a call right now. One thing to remember that was very important, think of your business as an investment, and this becomes much more plausible what we're talking about. You work your current job while you're building your business, and the nice thing is you won't get stuck in that trap. So many people get stuck in the trap, they never make it off the truck. Heck, you hardly start on the truck. So you're off the truck in a hurry when you go this route. So let's give Ronnie a call. Again, this is Ronnie with Sergeant Junket out of Louisville, Kentucky. Another Louisville company. We don't work with Ronnie. He commented on the Facebook group.
Hello.
Hey, Ronnie, it's Lee with JRA.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Doing great, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. Just getting in for the day.
Awesome. Did you have a busy day today?
Yeah, we had a busy day. The guys met me back at about 6:30 and did about $1,300 today. So.
Excellent, man. That's a heck of a day there. I appreciate you coming on and talking about, when's a good time, or is there, when or if people should actually quit their job to go full-time with their junk removal business. I don't know if you were listening, but I kind of explained to everybody you're still working a full-time job. So we'll get into those details right now, but I do want to let everybody know your website is the best one's this Sergeant Junket, sgtjunkit.com, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so guys, you can check out sergeantjunket.com. You can see Ronnie in front of one of his vehicles there on his website. So, Ronnie, how long have you guys been in business?
So we opened up on December 12th of 18. So we've been in business in 3 days. We'll have been in business for 7 months.
And you said you had a $1,300 day today?
Yeah, $1,300 day, and it's pretty average.
Wow, that's great, man. And your current full-time job, what kind of work are you currently doing?
So I'm a maintenance supervisor for a large industrial supply company. They're worldwide, so they just built a location here in Louisville.
Okay, and what kind of work? What's the kind of stuff you do as a maintenance supervisor there?
So I repair robots, and I manage the team that goes through. We do. I don't know if you're familiar with like ladder logic inside of a control panel. We're doing pick and pack robots, things of that nature. Essentially, eliminating humans, and guys like me get to work on the cool stuff that's doing that.
Well, so you're working on robots. Well, I guess the nice thing with your junk removal company, it's probably going to be a while before we have robots that go in people's homes to remove their stuff.
I hope so.
So this, if the robots ever start repairing the robots and you get canned from your current job, you'll have a good backup.
Yeah, man. So. And then I'm screwed.
Well, you have a good backup because you're building up a company.
Oh yeah.
So approximately, and I don't need exact figures here, but approximately how much do you make with your full-time job?
So my total comp package is just over $100,000 a year.
Okay, and I believe you're married, right, with kids?
I am, yes.
Okay.
2 kids.
Does your wife work, or does she stay at home?
No, she stays at home.
Okay, well, she works, but she just doesn't get paid for it. Okay.
Yeah, she probably works harder than me, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I always hear. So with that, and this is approximate, I realize you might not have this kind of added all up, but between house payments and kids and all that kind of stuff, I mean, what do you think your monthly obligations typically are around about?
They're roughly about in between $28,000 and $3,000. I've got it nailed down pretty good, but a medical bill hits me out of nowhere. So,
okay.
$3,000 or so.
Okay, so you've got a little bit, or you've got a decent amount left over each month. Are you going into that to kind of help build up your business, or is the business basically are you reinvesting money back into it, or how are you growing your company?
So I'm starting this. When I started the business, I'm doing it for long term. So my initial plan was I want to roll into this business in 5 to 10 years, so that I can retire out of it. I'm not in a huge rush, and so the money that I make extra from my job, when we first started, I was using it to supplement the business. Now, if we need to make a large purchase, I'll go and get an investment and invest that money into the business. I'm not taking a dollar out of the business yet. I haven't taken a single dollar out of it, other than I took my team out and we had a cookout, some things like that.
Right.
But as far as me personally, not taking any money.
So you probably think it's a pretty big advantage that you're able to have a good income at your other job where you don't have to take anything out of your current company. Because I doubt you'd be able to grow. I doubt you'd be able to have those $1,300 days if you were having to take money out of it. Would you agree with that statement?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that has helped us is being willing to go and get those investments, taking the risk on those, and spending that money wisely.
So did you do that? Because that's something that a lot of people struggle with. It was years before we took out our first loan with junk doctors, and part of that was I had absolutely no credit history whatsoever. But it took me a while to really get the confidence. People might kind of chuckle at that now, but it took me a while to get confidence up to actually go out and borrow that money. Is this something you did kind of right from the start, or did it take you? I mean, you're only 6 months in, so it hadn't taken you very long to figure that part out.
So I got a lot of advice on this, and I did a lot of research on it. I actually have a degree in business, so I reached out to some of my professors and got their opinion and gave them a business plan and a marketing strategy. And so I did all the front end work first, and then I started watching your videos and Tim Doss's videos, and you guys recommend this. And so it wasn't a hard decision. It was just a calculated decision. Does that make sense? And we did it initially. We invested very quickly. I started out with maybe $3,000 of my own money, and then we invested quickly to get trucks and all the things you need to do it properly right from the start.
How many trucks are you running right now?
Right now I'm running 2 trucks and a truck and trailer setup.
Okay. And obviously, if you're doing $1,300 in a day, you're running full time, so it's not like you're just on the jobs after your day job. Is that correct?
That's correct. And initially I was, and if I'd had $1,300 then, I would have been freaking out,
Yeah. So that's probably a pretty good strategy, don't you think? You'll start out, you'll kind of do it on the off hours, after you get off work, maybe on the weekends. And at what point did you make a decision to hire some employees? That way you could actually start working throughout the day.
So at about a 5-month mark, that's what we were doing. I was getting off work at 4:30. I was working till 9 at night, 5 days a week, and working all day on Saturday. So that was wearing me down, and my wife was about to choke me. So at about the 5-month mark, we started getting to a point where we were losing out on jobs because we weren't able to take on jobs during the day. And it was just, I had to make a second investment in the business and make the decision, like, am I willing to go big now, or do I want to keep playing this game and play on the side and make pennies,
Right.
Which is really what you're making if you're playing it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, especially when you have a good income from another job, and like you said, your big deal here is eventually you can retire from your current job and move into this business.
Sure.
So, who answers your company's calls? Or do you have somebody else doing that, or is your wife? Or
so my wife has a higher close radius than anybody else, so she answers the phone when she's able to, when the kids aren't screaming.
Yeah.
But through the system we use, when the phone rings, it goes to either my wife or my operations manager, who's running the business for me full time during the day, and either one of those pick up the slack.
Excellent. Okay. And so what are your approximate sales through, say, the end of June so far this year?
So through the end of June, over the last 2 months, we really ticked up, but we'll be looking at about $70,000 gross.
Okay. Excellent.
For the year so far.
Perfect. Okay. Well, you're off to an excellent start. There are a lot of people, again, that don't want to, that feel like they have to quit their current job to start this business. What kind of final advice would you offer them, when they're trying to make that decision to go into it or not?
So I don't think that, re-ask that question. So you're asking me, do you think they need to quit the job, or you're making that transition from junk removal, or from their main job into junk removal, or starting a junk removal business while they're working full time?
How best would they start a junk removal business while they're working full time without quitting their current job and giving up that income and that security?
Okay, so the first thing that I would recommend is making sure that all the front end work is done, making sure you're doing a market analysis, and writing a business plan. You don't have to have a degree. You can do some research and find out how to do these things. Making sure that you know what you're getting into, and then being willing to invest into this business. I think coming into a business and not being willing to invest outside money. I mean, unless you have a huge pile of cash built up, which few do. Be open and willing to invest, and make sure that you know where you're going to spend that money so that you get the return you're wanting to get out of it.
Okay. Excellent, Ronnie. Well, I appreciate you coming on and kind of sharing your knowledge, because it definitely applies to what's going on now. Do you have any timetable at all on moving away from your current job? Did you say somewhere around 3 to 5 years? Is that what I heard?
Yeah, 3 to 5 years is where I would like to be. I think that 3 years at a minimum is what it's going to take, and that's assuming that we do really well. And there's some other things we have lined up in the future that we may spread out into that may shorten that gap. But for now, 3 to 5 years I think is a safe number if things keep going well. But if it goes a little longer than that, fortunately, I have a good career where I'm able to stick in and I can make it a little longer. So.
What's your exit plan? Do you even have one for your junk removal company? I mean, are you eventually looking to sell it, or are you looking just to use that as a consistent income after you retire? What's your kind of plan?
So my plan is to obviously build it where I could sell it if I wanted to. Mm-hmm. But as of right now, I'd like to spread this thing out in the state of Kentucky, and there's a lot of open market here. And the state's going through a weird boom, which nobody was really expecting. So short term, that's my plan. 5 to 10 years, have 3 or 4 locations, and then make the decision from there. I mean, at that point, I think it would be sellable if that worked out. But beyond that, I'm not sure.
Excellent, Ronnie. Well, thank you again very much for coming on. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you here soon.
All right, thanks, Lee. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Ronnie. Bye-bye. Okay, so again, that was Ronnie Knuckles with Sergeant Junket. That's sgtjunket.com out of Louisville, Kentucky. I think one of the things that I really grabbed from that call is the fact he was very prepared going into it, and he was much more prepared than I was when I went into this thing. I was much more haphazard, and I kind of figured it out as I went, but I was also 21 years old. He's got a family he's got to worry with, so you've got to be much more. You have to plan out a lot more when you have more people relying on you, when you've got more obligations, and I think he's done an excellent job at that. The other thing, if you notice, he's really treating this as a business. This is an investment. This is like somebody that spent months researching the stock market or a mutual fund, and they figured out where they were going to put their money that was going to give them the biggest return. So this wasn't something that I don't think he chose it because he was passionate about junk removal. And I was kind of the same way. I was passionate about business. Junk removal just happened to be the vehicle that I chose to get me where I wanted to go. He likely chose junk removal because he researched it. He found it was a field that still had a ton of room for growth. There's still a ton of people out there that have no idea what junk removal is. They've never heard of Got Junk. They don't know you can hire a company to come and remove stuff. They feel like they've got to rent dumpsters or take the stuff to the dump yourself or whatever. There's huge rooms for growth. There's low barriers to entry. There is a lower amount of money. It's a smaller investment than many other types of businesses because there's the equipment you get, you can finance it with very little money down. There's a lot of excellent opportunities in junk removal. He recognized, he chose that business, and he's treating it as an investment, as a business. He's not expecting to get a penny out of it for the first year, 2 years, something like that. And that's going to allow him to gain a significant amount of market share in that Louisville market. Now, he's competing against a couple, other aggressive companies in that area. But like he said, $1,300 a day, that's about average. He's off to a great start. So, if you're at a lower income, let's say you're at this 20, if you're making 20K to 40K, and a lot of our viewers are in this range. This is where I was. I was on the bottom end. I was 20K before I went to junk removal. If you're 20K to 40K, you're probably going to quit a heck of a lot sooner. What you need to do is a lot of times these jobs are going to be jobs that you might work in the evening. Not always, but a lot of times you're going to work in the evening. This might be a weekend job. So, you might work, you're going to work anytime you can. Work all the time, basically. When you're at your current job, you work at your current job, you get off, and you immediately go to work on the junk hauling business. You use Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Thumbtack potentially. And next door, and maybe I use the Nextdoor app, and then potentially you might do some. If you have insurance, if you're fully insured business, you might do some mailers to like apartment complexes or something like that. That would be the first stage if you're that income level while you're working your other job. Your prices are probably going to be a little bit lower here. Your second stage would be you'd add in Google ads and maybe Facebook ads. And at some point along the line, you're going to be able to quit. You're going to get to the point. You could get to the point where if you're doing these methods, your profit margins are going to be higher than if you're reinvesting a lot back in on aggressive stuff with Google ads, Facebook ads, hiring trucks, hiring other people. In this case, you're on every single job. Your margins are going to be much, much, much higher. This is how you're going to build that business, and you're going to quit that as soon as you can. If you hate your job and you're young and you have low expenses, you might be able to do junk removal for a month and quit this 20K job and survive. You'll find a way to eat. You'll find a way to live. You'll find a way to get clothes on and all that kind of stuff. If you're making your way towards 40K, it might be 8 months before you want to quit that job, unless you just hate it. If you just hate the job and you're able to survive, you don't have a lot of people that are relying on you. You might make this jump. Anything over this 40K mark, especially if you're 60K plus, or if it's a household, you're 80, 90K plus, keep working that current job as long as you don't just hate it. If you hate that job, if you can't stand that job, then get to the point where you can make your minimum monthly commitments or take out a good loan. Get a good $50,000 or $100,000 loan, get a vehicle, $50,000 or $100,000 loan, be conservative, spend the money well on advertising to get more work, then you can make this thing work. But you do not have to quit your current job. So, next guy we're going to bring on is Damon Foley with J-Dog Junk Removal. Before we get to him, do we have any questions at all, Aaron?
We do, but they're all ones that I can handle.
Okay, you got it covered. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and give Damon a call. Again, this is Damon Foley, J-Dog Junk Removal. This is a franchise out of Austin, Texas. And he's just going to be talking about, in general, how he manages working his full-time job while running his business and the advantages of going about it that route.
This is Damon.
Hey, Damon, it's Lee with JRA.
Hey, good evening. How are you doing?
Doing excellent. How are you?
Great. Thanks for asking.
What are you doing? Hanging out at the Rage Room?
Oh, man. Actually, the Rage Room's been going crazy. I'm actually at the gym right now. Just taking a little break.
Okay.
Hanging out by the pool.
I got you. Sounds good, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. I just didn't, I let everybody know who you were, and it's J-Dog Junk Removal in Austin. What is that website again?
So I've got two websites. I've got jdogjunkremoval.com.
Yep.
And J-Dog. We've got three other websites, but J-Dog Austin is one of them.
Okay.
jdogkyle.com and J-Dog New Braunfels.
Okay.
So I've got three territories.
Got it. Okay, so he's got three territories in Texas. You can check out, I guess the easiest one is jdogaustin.com is one of the sites. And then again, he's part of the larger J-Dog Junk Removal franchise. So, again, I appreciate you being on here. How long have you guys I know how long, J-Dog started, about 7 years ago, is that right? The franchise as a whole?
Yeah, I want to say that sounds about right, about 6 years ago. I came in about 4 years ago, so I'm going into my fourth year.
Okay, so it started in Pennsylvania, and you purchased what was the first franchise you got, the one in Austin?
The one in Hayes County, which is basically Kyle, Buda, San Marcos, Dripping Springs area.
Excellent. Okay, and what's your full-time job? What kind of work do you do full-time?
I'm a paramedic for Austin Travis County EMS.
Okay, and what are your kind of hours there? I mean, that you
Yeah,
work.
so I do 24-hour shifts. I just went to a new schedule, but the last 10 years I've been on a 24-hour shift, so I only work 2 days a week. So I got 5 days off to run my business and do the rage room.
So how do you manage, or those 2 days you work, the 24 hours, how do you manage, I guess you have people in place to kind of manage those 2 days to make sure things still run well when you're not working it?
Yeah, so I haven't been on the truck in years. I mean, every once in a while I might fill on a Sunday and do a couple small jobs on a Sunday when my guys are about to hit overtime.
Yep.
But typically I have an ops manager. I've got 4 crew leaders. And they're competent crew leaders and an ops manager I can trust that has been working for us for a year and a half now.
Okay.
So they run the business. Now I work on focusing on growing the business, networking, talking to people in the community, connecting with people that can help grow our business. That's what I do.
Okay. And how do you keep checks on those guys to make sure they're running it correctly and not stealing from you and just overall doing a good job?
So trusting the people that you hire. So if you don't have confidence, if you don't trust somebody, they shouldn't be working for you. Now, you're not always going to be able to prevent that, but we screen our applicants. We do background checks. We have a software program. We use House Call Pro. So House Call Pro keeps track of all our invoicing. I know where everyone's at. We've got GPS. I've got security cameras in the warehouse. So I've got a good pulse on what's going on day to day. We've got a phone program that I can see every call that comes in, every call that goes out, all the texts that come in and out through our customer lines. We got 3 customer lines. So I keep track of all that. But I'd say the biggest thing is, I've got people working for me that respect me. I respect them. I make sure that they're well compensated. We do profit sharing also. So if you don't trust someone that's working for you, they probably shouldn't be working for you. That's my take on that.
Okay, so tell me something about the profit sharing. Is that a JDog system-wide thing, or is that something you just is kind of franchise by franchise?
That's something that I came up with. So I dedicate 20% of our profit to profit sharing in the form of a morale fund, and also 5% of that 20%, right? That 20% of our net profit is dedicated to our management and to our employees, and that's up to them on how they divvy it up. That's not up to me. So 15% is divvied up however they want to do that, and 5% goes to a morale fund. So that 5% is going to go to barbecues, movies, cool equipment, outings, whatever they want to spend it on. But I want that 5% dedicated to that, and it helps productivity. It helps. I think at the end of the day, you have 2 more jobs, and it's 5 o'clock. They're going to knock out 2 more jobs.
And those are always the tough ones, man. When you get a same-day booking or something that comes in at 3:30 or 4, you give it to you.
The other thing is, and the other thing is if they're on a job and it's somewhere between a quarter and 3/8 of the trailer, they're most likely going to try to invoice the customer, a little bit more. Try to make the money that we should be getting.
Exactly. Okay. What would it take you, and would you even consider leaving your current job, or is this always, you kind of just viewing this as more of an investment?
So I have a pension with the city, so I'm actually eligible to retire in about 2.5 years. I bought a bunch of, the city actually will recognize your military service, so you can purchase up to 4 years of time through the city, which is great. It's actually something they don't even offer anymore. So I'm on the old retirement, which is a way better retirement than the new one. So I would never it'd be stupid for me to walk away from a pension, and I get benefits. I don't pay anything for health insurance. I don't pay anything for dental, short-term disability, life insurance in there also. So, and I'm only working 2 days a week, right? So it's a no-brainer. Why would I leave that? So I would say it would take a lot for me to walk away from that. Now, here in about 2.5 years, when I go to retire and I've grown the business, then I can definitely focus more on the business. And there's some days where I go to work and I'm like, man, there's so much I could have accomplished. There's these, a networking meeting, or someone needs an estimate. My ops manager's not available on a big job. Where sometimes I kick myself and I'm like, why? I'm second guessing myself. Why am I doing this when I could be making my own money. There's some days where we make way more money on the junk side than I could do in 2 weeks at EMS. But in the long run, I'm gonna stick it out and and retire and walk away with something that I've built.
Oh, that's awesome. So on the EMS side of things, what's your approximate income on the EMS, like for your normal job?
So I like with benefits and salary and everything, about 100 to 120.
Okay. So I believe you're married with kids. Is that correct?
No, I'm single.
You're single. Okay, I'm sorry.
I got a dog. That's it.
You got a dog. Yeah, I got you. What kind of dog you got?
I got a Rat Terrier Chihuahua.
Ah, okay. Well, I've got an Australian Shepherd, so we don't have any kids right now.
There
either.
you go.
Okay, so you've got a good income. You're single. That obviously makes things much easier. How long was it until you started? When you first started your business, were you reinvesting pretty much everything you made back into it?
Yeah, everything pretty much goes back into the business. Since I've already got a regular job, I've got my own income. I don't have to rely on that money, so that money goes right back into the business. I started with one territory, ended up going with a second one. I bought someone out, and then bought another one last year. Just keep expanding.
Yep. Okay. So.
And on the backside of junk removal, we're doing a lot of stuff too. On the resale side, on the recycling, on the rage room, we're doing a restoration room project coming up. So we're trying to capitalize off of diverting as much as we can, because people in Austin are all about being good stewards of our environment, and that's what we sell ourselves as. And so there's a lot that's been put into that also.
Oh yeah. That recycling group, is that open to anybody that wants to join it on that Facebook group?
Anybody, yeah. And I've approved everyone. There's no one that gets denied for that group.
Okay. What's the name of that group?
So Junk Removal Resale Group.
Okay. So
we talk about junk removal, what items that are worth money. I used to be a training assistant on eBay.
Yep.
And I used to go to flea markets, swap meets, garage sales, estate sales. And over the course of a long period of time, found out what was worth money, what wasn't, was just common household junk items.
Okay. Excellent. And then you've got like a rage room deal going on as well. Kind of briefly touch on that if you would.
Yeah, 512 Rage Room. You can go to 512rageroom.com. And it's for people every walk of life that can come in. You don't have to be stressed out or have rage. You can just go in there and have some fun. We're the first junk removal company, as far as I know, that has gotten into the rage room business. One of the biggest challenges with the rage room business owners are also called anger rooms or smash rooms. Their biggest challenge is acquiring items for people to break. Your average session, you've got anywhere from 16 to 60 items per person that are getting destroyed. And so if you don't have a steady supply of items, or you don't know how to sort items, or, for an example, we've got dumpsters, our own dumpster service. We have a sorting facility, so a lot of those items still get recycled. Just because they get smashed doesn't mean they end up in the landfill.
Right.
So we have a constant supply of stuff coming in through the door for people to smash. People love it. I mean, we had a 91-year-old lady came in last week. Phone's been ringing off the hook. Every weekend's been booked solid for it.
Yep.
We're the only one in the area, and it's just a good release for people. People that they might have PTSD, they might have anger management, but they leave everything in the room, and that's what we want them to do.
Wow.
Before they leave.
Fantastic. What a way to really get the most out of everything you collect. So.
Well, and then also, it helps our diversion rate too, because this is stuff that a lot of it you can't donate, right? Fax machines, old telephones, old printers, old copiers, old plastic toys. Some of them are already broken. So a lot of this stuff Goodwill's not going to take some of this stuff, right? So it's going to a good cause, and that's part of our upcycling process. We're calling it 512 Upcycle, is the business that we're kind of forming on the backside of our junk removal business. We also have Texas Rustic Salvage. When we go and do demo, we tear down old barns, we tear down old houses, we salvage that old barnwood and that old corrugated metal.
Yep.
And we save it for people that are doing interior remodels for restaurants, bars. We had a brewery that bought our entire inventory of corrugated metal.
Wow.
That's another little business we have, but I'm not trying to get off topic, but we're trying to capitalize off of our junk. That's
Yeah.
the big
Big
thing.
Yeah, you definitely can tell. You're probably as active on that as anybody I've heard of. Anybody in the
I'm
country,
one of
I would
those
think.
where
Yeah.
trailer come in the door, it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
I love junk.
That's great. So, do you have any other investments outside of your business? I know you've got a pension plan from the state, but do you have any other retirement plans or any other investments, or did you put everything in the business?
Yeah, we have a 457 that's kind of like a 401k
Right.
that I put money to.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put up to $600 a paycheck into that, and it's the good part about that is it's tax free.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not at the end of the year. It also drops your tax liability at the end of the year because you're not making as much money, but it's still your money, and it's also accruing. It's going into a mutual fund.
Yep.
So that's an investment that I also have. Other than that, my money goes into my junk removal business, into J-Dog, and it goes into this other stuff that we're trying to do.
Excellent. So, long term, you looking to build it and sell it, or are you looking to keep it and just keep earning the income off of it for years to come?
Yeah, I'm not looking to sell anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
We're long term for sure. As a matter of fact, I just told my landlord, I was like, hey, if I'm going to put all this, we did a complete build out for the rage room with the lounge area and everything. It was about $20,000.
Yep.
So I told my landlord, I said, if I'm going to be in here and I'm going to create this restoration room, then I need to sign a 5-year lease, and he's totally on board with this. So we're about to sign a 5-year lease on our. We got 3,000 square foot warehouses.
Yep.
And about 5,000 feet of sorting.
Wow.
And that gives us room to do our sorting. We do junk cars also. So
Okay.
the rage rooms, people want to smash a car. We've got cars they can smash, and actually this weekend we've got 2 car smashes coming up. So we're offering way more than what just the average rage room business is able to offer because of what we're doing with the junk removal.
Wow. Well, that's great, Damon.
Yeah.
So, what kind of advice would you offer people to, that are considering quitting their current job? Let's say they're making $60,000, $70,000, $100,000 a year. They're considering quitting their current job. You've made a great business. So, what would kind of the best advice you could tell them?
My advice would be, well, first of all, the junk removal industry is for us, it's seasonal. The first couple of years was very seasonal.
Yep.
Now we're getting a lot of, repeat customers. We've got contractors that call us on a regular basis.
Yep.
I would wait until you get a lot of repeat customers where you've got steady business flow. You don't want to quit your job first or second year, and then you hit December, January, and you hit that slow period, and then you've got no income, right? So for me, it was, if I didn't have my EMS gig and I just had a job, I would have waited at least a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, and have that steady income coming through. And that depends on location. It depends on, are you a business person, or are you dedicated to doing it 100%? For me, I'm a business. I like business.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm in it 100%. It's not a part-time job for me. Now there are some guys that run JDAR or run other junk removal industries, and they can do it part-time. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's a full-time commitment. So I would ask myself, is this something that if I were to quit, and you don't have it, everyone needs to have that 6 months, just like Susie Orman says, right? That 6-month buffer of income.
Save for a rainy day.
You never know what's going to come up. Yeah, save for a rainy day. You don't ever know if you're going to have a medical expense that comes up. So I guess I would just make sure that you have that steady income and that you can anticipate those drops in the future.
Excellent. Okay. Well, Damon, thank you very much for coming on. Again, this is Damon with JDogAustin.com, part of the JDog Junk Removal franchise. You can also check out the Rage Room, correct me if I'm wrong, 512rage.com. Is that right?
512rageroom.com.
512rageroom.com. So that'll be a unique, it's kind of a unique idea. He's one of the first, if not the first, junk removal companies in the country that opened up a Rage Room. So check out 512rageroom.com. Damon, appreciate it again, man. We'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
See you. Okay, what an awesome call. So Damon is also, I believe he's on the town council for the town of Kyle, Texas. So just a fantastic a story there. He's building up a great business, part of the J-Dog franchise system, but he's got multiple trucks going. I can't go into too many details because of the whole franchise thing, but he's got multiple trucks going. He's reinvesting back into his company, I guess. And you notice I'm not giving either one of these guys much advice because they pretty much got it figured out. They've got that income. They're treating it as investment. They're building a company. They're hiring people and they're adding trucks and they're investing into marketing to build this thing long term. So Damon could be taking a significant amount of money out at this point. Instead, he's buying up more franchises, more territory through J-Dog. And he's opening up the Rage Room. They also want to do a transfer station. They do the upcycle, recycle type stuff. So every time he turns around, he's building up a kind of a block of cash and he's finding something else to put it towards. What's going to happen is 3, 4, 5 years from now, all of a sudden he's going to look out. No matter how hard he tries, he's not going to be able to put money back in the business at a rate higher than it starts spitting it back out. And that's when true wealth is going to be obtained. Both of these guys look at this thing as a business. Damon said he enjoys junk. He's passionate about it. So you've actually got somebody that's living and breathing junk there. But he's also passionate about business. One of the things he said is, I absolutely love business. And that right there is you love junk, you love business, you're going to be a successful junk removal entrepreneur. I can pretty much guarantee it. The one other takeaway from that is he talked about the seasonality of junk removal. Junk removal typically in the winter months in most areas, you're going to do 50% of what you did in your busier months. Some areas will do like 30% of what they did in their busier months or less, those first few years especially. You don't have the repeat business. What a lot of mistakes people make is they've got this $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year job. They're working it. All of a sudden they get that $1,300 day like Ronnie was talking about, and then they quit. They say, all right, this is it. I'm gonna make $550,000 a year because I'm gonna keep doing $1,300 a day, and that doesn't happen. Or 300, 400,000, whatever. That quits, that stops, and all of a sudden this person can't live. They've got to go back to another job. They get discouraged. They ultimately quit. Approach it as a business. You're going to be much, much, much better off if you can. Those of you guys, again, on those lower incomes, you're going to scrape and you're going to just crawl and you're going to do whatever you can to make this thing work. I did it. We built up Junk Doctors. We're on pace to do over $3 million this year. And it started with a pickup truck and trailer, and it started with me having to live off that junk removal income as we grew the business. There's hundreds of other junk removal companies throughout the country that have done the same thing. Aaron, we got any questions before we wrap, man?
We're good.
Awesome. So appreciate everybody for watching today's or this evening's episode of What's Your Problem. If you guys have anything you'd like us to talk about, what kind of problems are you having in your junk removal business, leave us comments, and there's a good chance we're gonna feature that as our topic on a future episode. If you guys want to be on What's Your Problem, if you want to help out the junk removal community grow, prosper, and become and raise awareness of the junk removal as an industry, come on our show, leave messages in our comments. We'll contact you to get it on. Again, every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, this is Lee Godbold with Junk Removal Authority, and we will see y'all next week.